Wildfires made us stay here.
We had big grand plans to tour the Sawtooth Mountains for like a whole week.
You have found Explorer Trek Adventure with Kelly and Gray. We cover everything camping from backpacking to adventure vans.
Let's recap where we've been. So we were outside of Hailey in the Sawtooth Mountains. We had come from Yellowstone. I was really surprised that that little town of Hailey actually super nice.
Yeah.
It had like everything you could possibly want. We ended up finding a spot
Outside.
not too far out of
Yeah.
town, but it was probably 6 miles on a private road to make it to the forest land.
And it was a bumpy road.
That was a terrible road, horrible road.
Yeah.
Super washboardy. Not like technical, but very rough.
Very rough. But there were, what, 6 campsite options?
Yeah, there was about 6 or 7
I mean,
sites.
a couple when they were
I
filled.
think like 4 of them were open.
Yeah.
There's another site right down the road from us. We're right over there. But this side does not have any creek side, so that's not as good. There's a trailer over there somewhere. So this morning and last night, we've been seeing quite a few people come down this road. It appears that they are mountain biking and motorcycling, ATVing. We ended up getting the last site. We had a great spot next to the water. You couldn't like see the creek from the van,
Right.
but there was actually 2 trails that we could take. One that went down straight, and then another one that left a nice rocky bank that you could sit on.
And actually, they all had metal campfire pits, but of course, campfire was banned, so there was no campfires to have, but they were there.
Yeah, we were gonna stay there just one night. We ended up staying for 2, got some work done, just kind of hung out.
Well, and that way we could leave on a Sunday instead of trying to find another location on a Saturday, which would have been.
Yes, although I was very surprised that even we were there on the weekend, there was hardly any other campers there. I don't know what that was about. I was expecting it to be completely packed.
And it worked out really well being next to the stream because we had been on the road for a while and we needed to do some laundry.
We ran out of clothes where we need to do laundry. Capturing some clean water.
I'm just gonna get 2 bags. We're using the Sea to Summit Wilderness Wash. This is biodegradable. It only takes a tiny bit. Like 2 drops. That's what I'm doing. I'm not gonna fill it too full. I might be a little bit too full, but let's see. I'm gonna get the air out of the bag and then roll it up 4 to 5 times. And we're using a dry bag. 10 like we're a washing machine. Seen some people use it put it on the ground and use their feet.
We have 2 bungee clotheslines and they have clips on them that you can move around. One high, one low. And we have our bucket of clean water that we're going to take our stuff out, rinse, and hang up.
It's nice because these things have the little stoppers so they won't go flying.
And that is how you do laundry out of the van. Actually, didn't take that long to do this.
So they weren't that dirty, but you can tell it's a little bit browner than it started. Let's check to see if the clothes are dry. It's been, I think, about 2 hours. Underwear dry. Shirt seemed pretty well good. On our way out of town, though, the nice thing about Hailey is that they do have a public area that has dump stations and water fill. They actually had garbages as well, but that was heaping, overflowing, so we didn't do that. But we were able to dump our gray tank and our toilet and then fill up some water.
Yeah, and they actually had a spot right next to it. You could park up to 12 hours, and it was specifically for RVs. So if you wanted to come and hang out in the town for a while, you could.
Yeah. So instead of going north, we went west up to the reservoir, which that was a sketchy road to get to.
Yeah, and we kind of just looked on the map, and we're like, we want to be by some water, preferably a lake, because we want to do some paddleboarding. And we found this reservoir. Not at all what I was expecting. At least the road going into it, you kind of came in on this plateau.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, down we went.
Well, you go across a dam, a single lane. I mean, they actually have a stoplight at the front and end because there's only one car width going and coming. And once we got on the road, it was bumpy.
Yeah,
bumpy
I think
road.
the biggest thing for me though is it's a shelf road.
It's
and
cliff.
it follows the edges of the reservoir, which actually are quite varied.
Yeah.
And ups and downs and washboards, and at least, I do have to give it to them, that at least it was 1.5 lanes wide.
Yeah, but the problem is that there are, we came across a lot, a lot of trucks hauling fifth wheels.
As we were coming around one of the corners, we noticed a Jeep, and we both kind of came to a stop. And just as we both started creeping towards each other, this ginormous vulture, we must have scared it because it came flying up the side of the ravine.
Right in between us.
Our dash cam ended up kind of catching it in midair.
Yeah.
It was pretty awesome.
It was pretty cool. It was huge.
Yeah. We ended up talking to the guy, and he was like, yeah, there's a couple different spots, and the farther one's the better one.
Which is where we ended up going. There
was a couple spots that were actually a little sketchy for the van to get to. I don't think I would have even tried it.
Yeah.
But the part we went to, they only had 1 or 2 spots up in the little camp area, but the water level was low enough.
Yeah, it was really low.
That there was probably, I don't know, 50 feet down to the water.
And surprisingly, there were some fifth wheels already perched down there, just left for, I think, maybe the upcoming holiday weekend. I don't know.
We figured since there was a fifth wheel down there, then we're going to go down there.
Yeah.
So we stayed up high on the bank, ended up digging out one of the sides so we can get level. Actually worked out really well.
Yeah. First time we've had to dig out a little spot from the parking.
And
it was pretty cool.
We didn't dig out because we got stuck. We just had to
dig
level.
out just to get level, yes. First time we've used not only the orange blocks, but also digging a hole. And then, of course, that night, and it was in the evening, late evening, another truck came in with a fifth wheel and plowed right on down below us. And
2 ladies came in, probably half hour, came in, bam, bam, backed that sucker up, dug it out, dropped it down, and took off.
Yep.
I think they were staging it for Memorial or whatever the weekend is.
Labor Day weekend.
So we had the place to ourselves with 3 fifth wheels. Empty fifth wheels, yeah. But it was a great sight. I was really hoping we'd see some big animals come down to the water.
No.
Did not see anything.
And we did get a paddle in the reservoir.
Yeah, we both got to take the paddleboard out for a little bit. That was nice.
It was really nice.
Saw 1 boat, and other than that, it was
dead.
Totally quiet. It was really nice. So one of our problems we had, well, it wasn't a problem, but in order to get to where we were going next, we had to make a decision. Do we want to backtrack, go on the freeway, then back in, or take one of 2 routes just into the random woods? And I hadn't done any research around this area. I had no idea what the roads were going to be like, and they could be like Jeep roads. Who knows?
Yeah.
So we were like, well, we're going to go for it.
Try.
I mean, it said it was 35 miles, but Google Maps said it was going to take us 2 hours.
Yeah.
We're like, we'll give it a try. And the funny thing is that road, which I was a little questioned about, was actually better than the other road going into the reservoir.
Yeah.
So actually, it was a great road. And
excellent. Yeah.
It winded us in through the backcountry.
Had a couple obstacles to get by. A few cows actually were in the middle of the road, but they were kind enough to move out of our way. We're getting a little late start this morning, got our showers taken in the van, and we're going to be heading to Oregon. We do have a few options in mind, but no reservations yet. But let's show you this site first.
This site has probably one of the best views we've had yet. We got these big ravines, and we're out on the end of this little peninsula. Got a couple different fire pits, but you can actually go all the way out.
One funny thing about this spot is you can see so much. We actually saw some campers on a boat down at the bottom there.
Yeah, people were hanging out down there. But look, you can see our lovebirds. Literally lovebirds. There's 2 vultures right there. They were on the tree closer to us yesterday, and they were cleaning each other. You wouldn't think vultures being very lovey, but they were. But look at this. These are these awesome cliffs. We're just all the way up here, out in the middle of nowhere. It's been super quiet.
Except for the whirly bird.
Just before dinner last night, we were sitting outside by the van, and we heard this super loud noise, and we looked over here, and there was a Blackhawk coming down this canyon, and they were about eye level with the van, and they came cruising by. It was the coolest thing. And then they cruised by, and then they just lifted just over that crest. It was pretty awesome.
It was so loud, but pretty amazing to see. I mean, we could have just waved them and they would have seen us.
Last night we went for a little bit of a walk and saw some rabbits cruising around out here. Also, once we got up into the sagebrush area, the gnats and bugs started attacking us. And know it's hard to pick up on camera, but this is part of Idaho's awesomeness. Is it looks like this dirt mound comes up, but this is a big old pointy rock sticking up, and 5 or 6 inches, and they are very consistent. Another one, and there's another one, and there's just a minefield of them up here. Well, that's one thing you got to be careful and watch out for. We've got about 11 inches of clearance in the middle of the van, but there are some low spots that we have to watch out for.
There are some major ruts coming in here too. It was a little bit sketchy at first, so it'll be interesting going out how we do.
All right, there's one pro tip for you is if you're traveling with a partner, always make sure they actually know how to get it into 4-wheel drive and 4-wheel low. When you're coming in here, I went out and spotted, and Kelly was like, hey, you want me to drive up? I'm like, sure, just put it in 4 low first. And she's like, yeah, got it.
I thought it was just this one button. I always see Greg push the one button.
Well, she started coming in, and I'm kind of guiding her in, and she's going just super fast. Fast enough when you go over a hump and the van actually bounces.
My foot was not even on the gas.
Yeah, she was just letting off on the brake. But when you're in high, you get some good speed, And so I had to actually show her that there's an actual whole separate button.
Extra button to push, yes. Yeah. Now I know.
With these views comes one bad part about this campsite. It is like silty, dusty here. And so everything is covered. Yeah, we actually had to close these windows on this side because the wind was coming in here. It was probably had a great breeze, but the whole van was just getting coated in dust. And you can see it. It's just thick. So we had to do some big cleaning inside this morning.
We've done multiple cleanings inside, and it's still a little bit dusty. I can only imagine.
Yeah, this campsite is still...
It's worth it.
It's definitely worth it. Battery management is always something to be aware of in the van, and we've actually kind of changed the way we've done things on this trip. If we know we are going to stay somewhere for just one night and it's remotely hot out or anything like that, we will burn our battery. If we look, we're down to 17%. And so what we'll do is we can run our AC on our batteries. We have 320 amp hours of batteries. So we can run the AC for 4 or 5 hours at like 60 degrees and get it nice and chilly in here. You can actually run it way longer if you bump it up to 75 and kind of let it cycle. But we did that last night, and I think I did it a little bit wrong. I had it down to like 60 degrees. It was getting cold in here, but then I didn't time it right, and battery was getting down low, and I needed to turn it off, but then it was still warm outside, so the van heated back up. The awesome part is like within an hour and a half, these batteries will be completely full because that alternator is ginormous, and we'll charge this sucker back up. Oh, it still grows.
We made it through the valley of holes, our ruts.
Yeah, it's always hard because I'm still learning exactly how this thing behaves. Because when we came down that hill, it feels like you're about ready to tip over, even though I don't think you are.
And it looks like you're about to tip over too. Interesting enough, there's actually a bunch of little cow patties right there by those holes. So they obviously, I was thinking that maybe we might see some in the middle of the night come up to us, but they did not. But that was a little bit stressful. I think one of the coolest things that I've seen in Idaho is it appears, I don't know if it's just like wild, if the city or county does this, but there are the sides of the roads, there are a bunch of wildflowers, and they remind me of sunflowers. The last hour has been nothing but empty hillsides, burned areas, and sagebrush.
No traffic though.
Yeah, it's pretty barren out here. I don't see any trees. The first place that we had marked out on Onyx off-road looked like recently maybe a wildfire went through there. I'm not sure. So we are on to the next spot. We just found our plan B, which is Unity State Park. It's on this awesome lake. Has water, electricity. Greg's getting the van all set up for us for the night. And there's even showers. But they did say that there is rattlesnakes down by the water's edge. So we have to be a little bit careful about that. Throughout this entire trip, we've reliant on Starlink because there was no cell service anywhere where we had been at. And this is the first campground that has not only cell service, but also free Wi-Fi, which is pretty amazing.
So it's only 29 bucks. We get a spot. We get to drop off our garbage. We already dumped our sewer and we have water and power here, so we'll be able to fill up with water before we leave. Can't beat that. Plus, I mean, we have enough room here for, I could play flag football. And now it's time for tacos.
And some peach cobbler. I got a little Impossible burger, adding some taco seasoning. Not too much because I can't handle the spice. And then some water.
When it comes to chores in the van, our roles are almost reversed in how they are at the house. I actually have been doing quite a bit of the cooking, at least for dinners, where Kelly normally does that at the house.
We both had 2 giant tacos last night for dinner, so we are completely stuffed. So we are having our peach cobbler this morning. Make it up and have it for lunch.
And that is 4 peaches in half of the Omnia oven.
One thing I found useful in the van, since we have a small limited space, is I have all my seasonings in these little itty pots. And then put this away, and then put this on top. And it slides right next to the microwave, so it's all in one place.
It's been 15 minutes. Check it. Ooh. Cooking good though.
Okay, it's additional 10 minutes. Let's see how it looks. Oh, that looks good. We're going to be heading out shortly. Go watch this video next. You can find us at exploretrackadventure.com, and we'll see you next time.